The Emperor's cruel joke. The Galactic throne room was vast, filled with golden light reflecting off the polished floors. Alien envoys from dozens of worlds whispered nervously as the Emperor sat on his towering throne, a sly smile on his face. He had called this meeting to humiliate humanity, and he relished the moment. Humans had come to the palace with their finest engineers and diplomats, hoping to prove their worth. The Emperor, however, had no intention of taking them seriously. He waved his hand and said, "Bring her in," his voice echoing like thunder. The doors at the far end of the hall opened slowly, and a large figure stepped through. It was his daughter, massive and seemingly awkward. Her bright dress shimmered, but it could not hide the exaggerated movements she made, causing a few aliens to snicker behind their hands. The humans froze, unsure how to react, their eyes wide with shock. This was not what they had expected. The Emperor laughed loudly, a booming sound that shook the walls. "Look at her," he said, pointing at his daughter. "This is the best you humans will ever see. Try not to be too embarrassed when she overwhelms your little minds." The daughter bowed politely but made no sound, her expression calm, almost serene, giving nothing away. Among the human delegation, one man stood silently, a mechanic by trade, not a diplomat, not a soldier, just a man with knowledge and skill. He studied the daughter carefully, noticing small details others missed. The strange way her joints moved, the faint glow under her skin, subtle hints that she was more than she appeared. The aliens chuckled and whispered, mocking humanity. "How weak they are. Sending a simple human to handle this," they said, their voices filled with pride and superiority. But the mechanic remained focused. He did not see a joke, he saw a puzzle, and he loved puzzles. The Emperor clapped his hands and said, "You will host her in your station, humans. Let us see how you manage a creature so unusual." The envoy assigned to escort her exchanged nervous glances with the mechanic. "We will do our best," he stammered, trying to hide fear. The mechanic nodded subtly, signaling he would take responsibility. The daughter moved slowly toward the human vessel, her steps deliberate. Every eye in the throne room followed her, expecting clumsiness, expecting weakness. The humans could hear the snickers, feel the tension. It was a test, but no one knew exactly what kind. As she reached the ship's boarding ramp, the mechanic approached, bowing slightly. "Welcome aboard," he said calmly, hiding the curiosity and anticipation swirling inside him. The daughter's eyes met his, dark and deep, and for a moment, he felt as if she were reading his mind, understanding him. He smiled faintly, sensing that this was going to be different. The aliens began murmuring among themselves. "Surely humans will fail," one said, pointing at the daughter. "No one can handle such a figure with respect," another added. "This will be their humiliation. They will be embarrassed across the galaxy." The Emperor leaned back, confident in his plan, certain that the joke would humiliate humanity forever. But the mechanic had noticed something subtle, a tiny spark under her skin, almost like energy flowing through hidden circuits. He felt his heart beat faster, a mixture of excitement and caution. Could it be that the Emperor had underestimated the true potential of his daughter? Could it be that this so-called joke would become a challenge unlike any other? The boarding ramp closed behind her, and the ship's doors sealed with a hiss. The humans and aliens alike held their breath, waiting for disaster. The mechanic led the way to the control room. Keeping his eyes on her carefully, every step she took seemed natural. Yet there was power hidden beneath, hidden and waiting to be revealed. The Emperor's laughter echoed across the hall. Oblivious to the storm that might be brewing, he thought he had humiliated humanity, thought they were weak. But the mechanic could feel a shift, something subtle yet undeniable, something that promised that the joke was far from over. As the ship's engines hummed to life and the daughter stood silently beside him, the mechanic whispered under his breath, "Let's see what you really are." The galaxy watched, curious, tense, and unaware that this day would mark the beginning of a story that no one would ever forget. The Emperor may have intended a joke, but for humanity, this was the start of a new era, the hidden secret. The ship's corridors were quiet, lit with soft white lights. The human mechanic led the Emperor's daughter toward the engineering bay, careful to observe every movement she made. Her large frame moved smoothly, almost too smoothly, her steps silent despite her size. As they reached the engineering bay, the mechanic gestured toward a workstation. Let's start with a check of your systems, he said calmly. Hiding his curiosity, the daughter nodded, her dark eyes scanning the instruments, watching every detail with a sharp focus. He began examining her equipment, the panels on her suit, the devices hidden under her clothing, and the strange energy readings coming from her body. At first glance, she seemed ordinary, perhaps even clumsy. But the mechanic's trained eyes saw the faint glow under her skin, a rhythm of power subtle yet undeniable. Aliens monitoring through sensors laughed quietly, certain the humans would fail. They have no idea what they are dealing with, one whispered, pointing at the mechanic. It is just a large child. How can they handle her? The mechanic ignored them, focusing entirely on his task, every sense alert. He touched a small panel near her wrist, and a soft hum resonated almost like a heartbeat. The daughter's expression did not change, but her eyes held a quiet intensity. The mechanic realized that hidden beneath her body were cybernetic enhancements, advanced technology far beyond anything he had seen before. Interesting, he muttered under his breath, carefully adjusting a calibration. These are not ordinary implants, she looked at him, and he felt as if she understood that he had discovered part of her secret. There was no fear, only trust and perhaps a silent challenge. The mechanic tested her strength subtly, asking her to lift small weights and manipulate delicate tools. Each movement was precise, powerful, yet graceful. Aliens monitoring through sensors began to whisper among themselves. Confused. This cannot be normal, one said. They are hiding something. Meanwhile, humans in the observation deck whispered excitedly, noticing how her movements defied expectation. The mechanic continued, probing deeper, careful not to alarm her. He discovered hidden energy conduits in her arms and legs, enhanced reflex circuits, and a neural interface far more advanced than any human or alien technology. What are you hiding? He asked softly. Not as a question, but as a recognition of her hidden potential. She smiled faintly, almost imperceptibly, and for a moment, the mechanic understood. This was no ordinary child sent as a joke. She was a weapon, a genius of strength and strategy, hidden behind a seemingly harmless form. The aliens outside the ship sensed something unusual, their sensors picking up energy spikes. Yet they still underestimated her, thinking they knew the truth. The mechanic's heart raced as he realized the full implications. If the Emperor had intended a joke, it had completely misfired. He whispered to her, "We need to be careful. But you are ready." She nodded once, her eyes gleaming with a quiet fire. The humans observing from the deck felt a surge of hope, understanding that their species had been given a secret weapon unlike any other. The mechanic continued his tests, documenting every hidden enhancement, every cybernetic improvement. Every move she made seemed effortless, yet the calculations in his mind showed a level of capability far beyond ordinary limits. The suspense in the human crew grew. What would happen when her true abilities were revealed? Outside the ship, the Emperor laughed confidently. Unaware of the storm that was quietly building, he thought humanity would fail, thought his joke would humiliate them across the galaxy. But the mechanic now held the key to a truth that could shake the Emperor's pride. As the daughter practiced small demonstrations, lifting heavier weights, dodging objects with astonishing speed, and analyzing complex systems in moments, the mechanic realized one undeniable fact. The galaxy had underestimated humanity's creativity and courage. The human crew watched silently, holding their breath, waiting for the moment when her abilities would be revealed. The tension was thick, electric, promising a confrontation that no one in the throne room could predict. The mechanic whispered once more, "They don't know what's coming," and she only smiled faintly. Ready? The ship's engines hummed softly, carrying them toward the next test, toward a moment that would shock the galaxy. The Emperor's cruel joke was about to unravel in ways no one imagined. The Emperor's miscalculation. Back in the Emperor's throne room, laughter echoed through the golden halls. He leaned forward confident, watching every report from the human ship with amusement. "Surely they will fail," he said to his advisors. "This child cannot possibly survive our tests." The aliens nodded, smiling at what they believed was humanity's inevitable humiliation. The Emperor's daughter, the so-called obese child, had been sent as a joke, and he expected chaos, embarrassment, and failure. Yet inside the human ship, everything was far from what he imagined. The human mechanic observed her quietly, noticing how she adapted to every test with surprising speed. Her reactions were sharp, her decisions precise. and her strength hidden under her calm exterior. Every small action revealed intelligence and skill that no one had expected. Aliens watching through sensors were starting to whisper, confusion spreading among them. "How is this possible?" One asked. "She should be struggling, but she is performing with control," another added. "There is more to her than we can see." The mechanic began training her in secret maneuvers, small tests to reveal her hidden potential slowly. He instructed her to lift objects silently, to dodge obstacles with speed, and to manipulate technology far beyond the limits of ordinary humans. Each exercise was subtle, but with every success, her confidence grew. Meanwhile, the Emperor paced in his throne room, unaware of the quiet storm brewing aboard the human ship. "Humans are weak," he muttered. "They will fail eventually. There is no way they can match her." Yet the reports he received confused him, showing unexpected efficiency, calmness, and precision. Back on the ship, the daughter began performing complex sequences, combining strength, speed, and intelligence. The mechanic watched in awe, realizing that the Emperor had completely underestimated his daughter and humanity itself. She was learning faster than any human or alien could imagine. Word began to spread subtly among alien diplomats monitoring the humans, whispers of surprise and uncertainty. "They thought this was a joke," one said quietly, "but she is extraordinary," another added. "Could it be possible that humans are hiding something?" The human crew, inspired by the daughter's hidden skill, began preparing small demonstrations, subtle hints to show her capabilities without alarming the Emperor. The mechanic planned carefully, knowing that the time to reveal her full potential would come soon, and when it did, it would shock the galaxy. Inside the daughter, something stirred, a quiet determination and understanding. She had been underestimated, mocked, and sent as a joke, but she was ready to prove that strength, intelligence, and resilience are not measured by appearance. Every test made her sharper, faster, and more confident. The Emperor continued laughing, oblivious to the growing tension aboard the ship. His advisors were beginning to doubt quietly, but they dared not speak. The daughter's calm efficiency was unsettling, though they could not understand why. She was no longer just a joke. She was becoming a force they could not ignore. The mechanic whispered to her softly, "Soon, they will see what we are capable of." She nodded slightly, her eyes gleaming with quiet fire, ready for the moment when her abilities would leave the galaxy in shock. The human crew felt a surge of pride and anticipation, ready for the revelation that would change everything. Meanwhile, the Emperor continued sending instructions, confident in his joke, unaware that every move he made was being anticipated, calculated, and subtly countered by the daughter and the mechanic. He thought he controlled the situation, but in reality, he had set the stage for his own humiliation. The corridor of the human ship hummed with quiet energy, tension building with every passing second. The daughter moved with grace and precision, mastering every hidden skill, and the mechanic prepared for the moment of truth, when the Emperor's mockery would turn into astonishment. The galaxy was about to witness the first signs of humanity's hidden strength. And in the throne room, the Emperor laughed one last time, confident and unaware that his miscalculation was about to change the course of this encounter forever. Humanity's unexpected champion. The ship's main deck was alive with quiet activity. Human engineers and crew watched the daughter carefully, expecting her to stumble. But she moved with confidence, every action precise, her strength and speed far beyond what anyone had predicted. The human mechanic observed her closely, amazed at the subtle power hidden beneath her size. She lifted heavy equipment effortlessly, rearranged complex machinery with ease, and responded to problems faster than any human mind could calculate. Every move she made was calm yet deliberate, showing intelligence and skill that defied expectations. Aliens monitoring from a distance began to murmur nervously. "She is different," one said, pointing at the daughter. "How can a human child perform like this?" Another whispered. "They thought it was a joke, but this is something else entirely." The Emperor, receiving reports from his sensors, frowned, his laughter fading into confusion. The human crew started whispering among themselves, excitement rising. "She's incredible," one engineer said. "We underestimated her, and maybe underestimated humanity." The mechanic nodded, silently proud, knowing that the galaxy was about to witness something unprecedented. The daughter began small demonstrations, moving through obstacle courses with remarkable precision, lifting weights that no human her size could possibly manage. and solving complex technical problems in moments. Every performance was subtle, yet each one chipped away at the Emperor's joke, replacing it with quiet fear. The aliens watching through holographic displays began to exchange glances, uncertainty spreading. This was supposed to be humiliating for humans, one admitted, but now, we are not sure who holds the advantage. The Emperor, growing frustrated, demanded faster updates, but his sensors could not capture the full extent of her capabilities. In private, the mechanic whispered to her, "They are starting to realize the truth. But you must be careful, show just enough." She nodded once, understanding the balance between subtlety and revelation. Every glance, every movement was calculated to both teach and shock. Her reflexes were sharp, responding instantly to mechanical malfunctions or energy fluctuations. She lifted heavy objects, adjusted machinery, and repaired systems faster than any human or alien had imagined. The humans observing began to cheer quietly, realizing that their kind had a secret champion among them. Suddenly, one alien diplomat sent a report back to the Emperor. "Sir, her strength and intelligence surpass expectation." The Emperor's eyes widened, disbelief mixing with rising anger. He had intended this to be a joke, but the humans were quietly proving him wrong. Step by step, the mechanic introduced more complex tests, including engineering challenges, problem-solving scenarios, and simulated combat drills. The daughter completed them all flawlessly, her hidden cybernetic enhancements allowing her to execute tasks that no one thought possible. Every success strengthened the morale of the human crew and whispered fear among the alien observers. The daughter's calm presence began to inspire the humans around her. She moved not only with strength, but with quiet leadership, showing strategy, foresight, and intelligence. The mechanic smiled subtly, realizing that she was becoming the face of humanity's hidden potential, a champion the galaxy had never expected. Meanwhile, the Emperor's confidence began to crack, subtle reports reaching him of her extraordinary feats. He could not believe what he was seeing. His cruel joke, intended to humiliate, was backfiring in ways he could never anticipate. The galaxy was beginning to take notice, whispers spreading. Humans were not weak, and the daughter was not what she seemed. The daughter looked at the mechanic, her eyes glinting with quiet determination. "It's time they understand," she said softly. Almost like a promise, almost like a warning, the mechanic nodded, ready for the moment when her full potential would be revealed to the galaxy, and the Emperor's miscalculation would turn into astonishment. The humans braced themselves, quietly cheering their hidden champion. The aliens whispered nervously, uncertainty and fear growing. The ship hummed with energy, tension building like a storm, and somewhere in the distance, the Emperor's laughter faltered, hinting that the tide of this encounter was beginning to change. Humanity's unexpected champion was ready, hidden beneath a guise of ordinary appearance, waiting for the perfect moment to shock the galaxy and prove that humans were not to be underestimated. Shockwave through the throne room. The grand hall of the Emperor's palace was filled with alien dignitaries, all waiting to witness what they thought would be a humiliation for humanity. The Emperor sat on his throne, confident and smug, his eyes gleaming with anticipation. "Prepare yourselves to watch their failure," he said, his voice echoing through the golden chamber. The human ship docked gracefully, and the daughter stepped forward. Calm and composed, the Emperor waved a hand, signaling the start of the demonstration, expecting awkward movements and failure. But what he saw next made him freeze. The daughter moved with precision and grace, lifting massive equipment, balancing it effortlessly, and repairing complex machinery faster than anyone had imagined. Aliens gasped, whispering among themselves, This is impossible," one said. "No human should be able to do this." The Emperor leaned forward, frowning, a hint of doubt creeping into his voice. "Show them, my daughter. Show them your weakness." But she did not stumble. She did not hesitate. Instead, she smiled faintly, as if understanding the joke had now become her stage. The mechanic stood nearby, observing quietly, proud of the subtle strategy they had used. Every action the daughter took seemed ordinary at first, but each movement revealed hidden strength. Agility and intelligence. The aliens could no longer dismiss her, their whispers turning to uneasy silence. She began to perform a series of demonstrations, combining strength, speed, and problem-solving, lifting objects that seemed impossible, dodging obstacles effortlessly, and analyzing complex systems in moments. The humans in the audience cheered quietly, awed by her hidden potential. Reports from sensors showed energy readings far beyond normal. Even the alien technology monitoring her could barely keep up. The Emperor's eyes widened, disbelief and anger mixing in his expression. His cruel plan had not humiliated humanity. It had backfired spectacularly. One alien diplomat whispered, "They underestimated her." "And humanity," another nodded. The Emperor's joke was a trap for himself. The daughter paused, then performed a precise demonstration of her full capability, lifting enormous machinery and manipulating multiple controls simultaneously. All eyes in the throne room were fixed on her, stunned. The Emperor's face turned red with embarrassment. He tried to laugh, but it faltered. "This cannot be," he muttered. The daughter's calm efficiency shattered the illusion he had created. Every alien observer could see the truth. Humans were not weak, and this obese daughter was far more powerful than anyone had expected. The mechanic whispered to her, "Now they see it," and she nodded, her eyes glowing faintly with determination. The tension in the throne room was electric, a mix of awe, fear, and disbelief. The humans watching felt a surge of pride, witnessing the galaxy's first undeniable proof of humanity's hidden strength. The daughter continued moving seamlessly from task to task, showing precision, intelligence, and strength. Each demonstration was calculated to impress, but also to teach a lesson to the Emperor and his court. Aliens began whispering nervously, realizing they had judged wrongly. The Emperor slammed his fist on the armrest, unable to hide his fury. "Impossible!" This was a joke. He shouted, but his voice carried no authority. His daughter had turned the tables completely, humiliating his mockery while proving the ingenuity of humans. The ship's crew watched silently, holding their breath, knowing that humanity's reputation had just taken a huge leap. The daughter's calm demeanor contrasted with the Emperor's panic, showing that strength and intelligence were never measured by appearances. Finally, the daughter completed her demonstration, standing tall, her eyes scanning the hall. The aliens could not hide their shock. The humans quietly cheered, understanding that this moment would be remembered for generations. The Emperor's cruel joke had unintentionally showcased humanity's brilliance. The mechanic stepped forward, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Well done," he whispered, and she smiled, subtle but proud. The throne room was silent save for murmurs of awe. The shockwave of her abilities had spread through the galaxy, and the Emperor could do nothing but watch. Humanity had won this round, not through weapons or fleets, but through ingenuity, resilience, and a single human's cleverness. The daughter, once mocked, had become the unexpected champion. And the galaxy had taken notice. A new era for humans had begun. The mechanic's revelation. After the throne room settled from the shock of the daughter's demonstrations, the human mechanic quietly led her to a private chamber aboard the ship. Away from prying eyes, he began to explain the truth behind her hidden abilities. "These enhancements," he said, pointing to the subtle glow under her skin and the intricate circuits he had discovered, "are not just technology. They are a combination of human engineering, strategy, and resilience." The daughter listened carefully, her eyes reflecting curiosity and understanding. He continued, "The Emperor thought sending you as a joke would humiliate humanity. But he failed to realize one thing. Humans adapt, humans create, humans overcome. We build not just machines but solutions, intelligence, and courage into everything we do." His voice carried pride, a quiet conviction that humans were capable of greatness. The daughter nodded, understanding fully now that she was a symbol, a living proof of humanity's ingenuity. "So I am more than I appear?" she asked softly. Her question was not boastful but thoughtful, aware of the responsibility she carried. "Yes," the mechanic replied. "You are what the galaxy underestimates. You are human potential in action. Your strength, your intelligence, your calm and courage. They represent everything humans can achieve even when the odds are against us." He paused, letting the weight of his words settle. Outside, the galaxy was already whispering. Alien envoys shared reports of the demonstration, and murmurs of disbelief turned to cautious respect. "Humans are not weak," one said. "They are clever, adaptable, and dangerous when underestimated." The Emperor, meanwhile, struggled to maintain authority. Humiliated by his own miscalculation, the mechanic explained further, showing how each enhancement was carefully designed not only for power, but for adaptability. "We prepare for situations they cannot predict." The Emperor thought a joke would shame us, But he underestimated our foresight, our problem-solving, and our resilience. His words emphasized that human ingenuity could never be judged by appearances alone. The daughter's calm expression now held a quiet pride. She realized that she had become more than just the Emperor's daughter sent as a joke. She was a beacon of humanity's cleverness, a symbol of hope, strategy, and untapped potential. Tomorrow, the mechanic said, we will show them even more. Not to humiliate, but to remind the galaxy that humans are not to be underestimated. The daughter nodded, fully aware that the upcoming events would leave a lasting impression, not just on the Emperor, but on every observer. In the human crew quarters, whispers of admiration spread quietly. They spoke of her calm leadership, her precision, and the way she inspired confidence. Every small success had shown that humans were clever, disciplined, and unstoppable when underestimated. The Emperor attempted to regain composure, but his advisors now whispered doubts. They could see the truth that he could not deny. The daughter's abilities, combined with human ingenuity, had shifted the balance, making the Emperor's mockery meaningless. The mechanic smiled faintly. Remember this, he said. You are a demonstration of what humans can achieve when underestimated, when challenged, when mocked. The galaxy will learn a lesson today. Never judge a species by appearances alone. The daughter's eyes shone with understanding, ready to fulfill that promise. As they prepared to return to the public hall, the tension in the galaxy grew. Aliens and humans alike anticipated what would happen next. The mechanic's revelation had strengthened their resolve, highlighting that humanity's greatest weapons were not fleets or firepower, but cleverness, adaptability, and courage. And as the daughter stepped forward once more, ready to face the Emperor and the galaxy, it was clear that this was not just a demonstration. It was a turning point, a moment when humanity proved that it could rise above mockery, overcome doubt, and earn the respect it deserved. The galaxy held its breath, knowing that what they were about to witness would redefine their understanding of humans forever. And the mechanic watched quietly, proud, knowing that the secret he revealed had set the stage for humanity's ultimate triumph. Humanity's triumph. The grand hall of the Emperor's palace was tense, filled with alien dignitaries and human observers alike. All eyes turned toward the daughter, who stood calmly beside the mechanic, ready to demonstrate once more that humanity was not to be underestimated. The Emperor rose from his throne, attempting to project authority, his voice shaking slightly. Show them, my daughter. Show them your power, he stammered, hoping to regain control. But the galaxy was no longer watching a child to mock. They were witnessing a force that demanded respect. The daughter began her demonstration, moving with flawless precision, lifting massive equipment, coordinating complex systems, and responding to technical challenges with astonishing speed. Every movement was deliberate, every decision perfect, leaving alien observers in stunned silence. The human crew cheered quietly, proud and amazed, realizing that their ingenuity had been proven in full view of the galaxy. The mechanic watched, a subtle smile on his face, knowing that every hidden circuit, every clever design, had combined to reveal humanity's true strength. The aliens whispered among themselves, some fearful, some impressed. Humans, we underestimated them, one said. Their intelligence and adaptability. It is beyond what we imagine, another diplomat nodded. The Emperor's mockery has become a lesson for us all. The Emperor's face burned with humiliation. His laughter long gone. He had tried to mock humanity, but his plan had completely backfired. The daughter's calm efficiency and hidden power had exposed not just her own strength, but the ingenuity of an entire species. With every demonstration, the galaxy began to realize a truth that had been ignored for too long. Humans were clever, resourceful and resilient, capable of achieving what others thought impossible. The daughter had become the symbol of that truth, a living example of humanity's brilliance. The mechanic stepped forward, addressing the crowd. What you see here is not just her abilities. It is the result of human creativity, perseverance, and courage. When underestimated, humans adapt, innovate, and rise above expectations. This is the true power of humanity. His words echoed through the hall. Leaving no doubt in anyone's mind, the daughter performed one final feat. Combining strength, agility, and intelligence, solving complex engineering problems, balancing massive machinery, and anticipating potential failures all at once, the aliens gasped, unable to comprehend how a single human could achieve so much. The Emperor sank back into his throne, defeated, His cruel joke had revealed the very truth he sought to hide, that humans were a force to be reckoned with that day. The galaxy learned a lesson that would not be forgotten. Humanity's value was not measured by size, appearance, or wealth, but by intelligence, ingenuity, and courage. The human crew erupted into cheers quietly at first, then louder as the realization set in. They had witnessed a turning point, a moment when humanity proved it could rise above mockery and fear. The daughter's calm smile reflected pride and understanding. Knowing she had fulfilled her role perfectly, the aliens once mocking now bowed slightly in respect. Recognizing the hidden brilliance of humans, even the Emperor, humbled and silent, could not deny the truth before him. Humanity had triumphed not through brute force, but through cleverness, resilience, and the brilliance of a single unexpected champion. As the daughter and the mechanic prepared to depart, the galaxy watched in awe, whispers spreading across star systems. "Never underestimate humans," one diplomat said, and the words carried through the cosmos, a warning and a promise. The human ship rose from the palace docks, engines glowing with quiet power, carrying with it the knowledge that humanity had proven its worth. The daughter stood beside the mechanic, calm, proud, and unshaken, a symbol of what humans could achieve when underestimated, mocked, or challenged. And as the stars stretched before them, the galaxy would never look at humanity the same way again, for this day marked the triumph of cleverness, courage, and the unyielding spirit of a species that refused to be underestimated. Humanity had risen, and the story of their triumph would echo across the stars for generations to come.